Yeah, so today what we're gonna see is just the list of two different, I mean, there are gonna be two tables, right? And we're gonna still see the left and the inner join and try with a different data set. So last time we looked at the same left and the inner join with a data set that had like name and the employee ID and the email address and the salary. But let's look at this example where we will try relating the order table to the order account table, right? Order table will have order and the country and the revenue, right? And the order account will have order mapped to the account. So this table will not have order number associated with an account ID, but this table will have the account ID. And country is common between this and this. And I'll involve more complexities like, how to use multiple on clause or like, a combination of and clause within the or condition when you're trying to join the table. Okay. So I'm going to create my first table and I'm going to use the training to database. So ID and I'm just inserting this data set inside. Let's look at the, let's take a look at both the tables, right? So this is all we have in both the tables, right? So first is the order number in both the tables. So this is going to be our common joining element and country, which is again same. And I'll come back to country, like why we have this column in both the tables. And then the revenue is there, which is not there in your table 2. And there is something called as account ID for each and every order in your table 2, and that is not there in your table 1. And another extra piece of information is like account name that is there for a account ID. Okay, these are the two different tables that we have. Now let's try joining using which join condition first. Anyone? Hello. If I do this, what will I get? Someone say error. Shall we execute this? So this gave us everything, and let's do a inner join with the same. And when we run this, there won't be any difference between both the results. Why? Because I have every single order number available in table 1 with the table 2. Okay. Now let's introduce the complexities that will help us to understand more on the logic part. You see this order 4, it's a duplicate order number unless and until you don't consider the country. Okay. So the unique way of identifying a record is like combination of order number with the country. Okay. And similarly, you have here also where you have this account 40 it will become, and let's say we have name as 40. Okay. And this will be your grade button. How many of you are from sales team? No one? Hello. Hey, has everyone fallen asleep? Okay, fine. So let me just introduce this one extra column in the both the tables. Okay. So now the same left join, let's see how it behaves with the and condition with the country. Uh, join together, right? Say OT dot country is equal to OA. OA is the alias for the second table and country. Okay. Let's run it this way and see this, right? The country from table A and table B, or the first table and the second table, has joined together, and there are 5 rows. Why? And okay, let's tell what is the difference if you have commented this and run this, right? You will end up getting extra columns, I mean extra rows. You know why? Because if you see, like order number 4 has been joined, like duplicately with the second table. Why? Because we had a country code and we did not give that in the AND condition. Okay. So in this case, how to identify the unique record between both the tables is with using a combination of order number and the country together, right? So you should use both the order number and the country code together. Only then you will be able to join both the tables in the right way that you want. So let's put this as a double copy at the bottom and then see how both of them result, right? So the first one will return 7 row numbers and the second one will return the 5 right exact row numbers. And if you see here and here, it's not matching. The first table it is Great Britain and the second table it is in, right? And in the similar way, here if you see, it will be like Great Britain to Great Britain. Why? Because we have a condition here. You getting it? So how do you know now, like, what is this join condition is? Like, how did we decide this join condition is the right way to join, right? So for that, you should know what is the granular most information that is available in a table. So first, any question on this and why this is wrong and why this is right? Okay, so hey, see here you are having a duplicate record. Okay, uh, the join will return a duplicate result. Why? Because you have a country column here. Okay, the same order number. Okay, let me put it across this way. Let's take example with an Excel file, which will make a little more easy for people. Let's take simple table here, like name and then the department. Okay, so let's assume John there is a John in HR team and there is another John in finance team. And Mike, there is only one Mike from tech support. Okay, so now let's assume you have this two set of table where in this one you have the year, I mean, let's say age, and here you have, let's say, country. Okay. Okay, let me not take country because it will confuse you with the previous example. Let's take a Dell site. Let's say Dell 4, Dell 4 again, and Dell 9. Okay. Now these are two sets of tables that we have. Oops. This is your table 1 and this is your table 2. Okay. So remember this and this is not the same guy. One can't, the same John can't be working for HR and same John can't be working for finance. Agreed? Hey, either say something or just, I can't have a in a non-interactive class, right? please open up. So do you understand or you don't understand? How do I know without you, none of you speaking at all, right?
Yeah, Balaji, we understand.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Thank you. So at the result, what I need is like del site. Okay, so the way that I will join between this and this table, if I wouldn't have had a duplicate here, see there is a clear duplicate here, right? I have a duplicate here and I have a duplicate here as well, right? So for me to join these two, and I need to get the like and the age. So this is the end result that I want. Okay, so for me to get this result, for sure I had to join both of these tables. Does anyone disagrees to that?
No, Balaji.
No.
Okay, so let's assume if John, if I'm joining it only based on these columns, right? Only the names from both the tables, right? What will happen is John will first time join with this table once. Why? Because the name is similar, right? That is the first occurrence. What will happen here? John and John matched, and the del site is what? Del 4, right? And age is what? 22. Okay, this is the first iteration of join. What will happen to the second iteration? John is still equivalent to this John as well, right?
Right.
Yes, Balaji.
Then what will happen? Again, we will end up joining the same John to the second John, and this will be again del 4. This del 4 comes from here. This del 4 comes from here.
Okay.
Okay, for the sake of changing it, I will change it like this. And the age is gonna be like what? The second
22.
John has
24.
24, right? And then let's assume the second John that I had, first time it will get joined to this John, which is the third iteration, right? And this is the first time John which has got added in the second table. And what is the del site now? Del 4 again. And what is the age? 22. Now the second John that is there in the first table, it's again gonna join for the second John, and this time it's gonna pick del 5. This is the case when you are doing name is equal to name. Okay, what is the age here? 24. Agreed?
Yes, Balaji.
But this is not the right data, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For once there'll be a mic. Okay, so this is for the first John that got joined with this John and this John, right? So mic is just once, so there is no confusion. Ideally speaking, how many Johns should I have at the end result? This is wrong, by the way. Why? Because you are considering both the Johns as the same, and you're joining between these two tables and getting a messed up result. So if you say name is equal to name and department is equal to department, right? In this case, you will get only two Johns, right? Out of this, what will get eliminated is first John with the HR, it will join only for this record, and there will be only del 4 in the result. So only this record will be qualified for the first John. Okay. So this one will not qualify. Why? Because John, which is the first guy, is not from finance. This join condition will fail and this will not be introduced. Okay. The other way around, this one again, will it be qualified?
No.
It will not be qualified. And this one will be qualified. So what are the results that will come? There will be only two lines of results in the second join. when I'm considering both of it. Similarly, actually speaking in the del world, imagine instead of name, you have order number. And there is something called country code. Forget about this column, extra columns that we have. And let's assume there is a account ID. Let's say order number and code, and then let's say sales revenue.
Balaji, I think we got this. Probably you can take us through SQL only. SQL only.
Okay. Okay, Alagiri. Sure. So, hey, is this making sense, or is there a better way that I can explain?
No, this is making sense. Probably like we when you added that and right. So since it was like a new one, like we were like on the sky. Why this and like and came here?
Okay, I
Yes,
hope you
this
guys
is
are now clear. Is that what it is? Hey, I'm completely fine if I had to explain like a million times, but don't let's not jump the topic if you're not clear. Okay. Hey,
no,
I
no.
got
We just need to check with the audience, like if they are
right.
synced with the same, or
Yeah,
do they need
that's right,
Excel
Alagiri.
explanation?
Yeah, yeah. So, is there someone who hasn't understood this? What we were trying to say?
No, Balaji, we have understood.
Okay. Thanks, Namita. Okay, for sure. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Tell me, Sriram. You're there, man.
I am sorry, I just was speaking
Okay.
with mute mode.
Hey,
I'm quite
I hope you've
confused,
got
Balaji.
what we were trying to say, right?
Yeah, but as classes I understand, but the outcome is quite difficult to understand.
What specific outcome, Sriram? So is it that how did we come to
Duplicate
this?
the name is equal to name department, and that's quite difficult.
So the thing is that in names you can have duplicates. Okay, so this is like let's say this is John from Bangalore. Okay, and this is John from America. But unfortunately, both of them have the same name, right?
Okay,
And in our database, obviously it is just a database, and we know that both the Johns are not same, right?
okay,
One guy is from finance and another guy is from HR.
okay,
So when you join, just based on the names for both the tables, it'll just give you the result multiple times. It'll end up getting a Cartesian result. So it's like the same John will get uh, joined twice here because just because the value is matching. If you're using just name is equal to name as a condition.
okay,
The moment that you add HR also as a condition, like department also as a condition, each and every John will get only mapped to the second table only once.
yes.
Okay, so by which we will eliminate these two rows.
Oh, yeah, got it, Balaji. So department will segregation the which John is from HR and which
Right.
John is from
Yeah,
finance. Yeah.
right. So let's assume that if we have a department here, okay. So what would have happened here, guys?
It will show HR
And here,
finance.
okay. So only this and this will be a qualified result, and the other two wouldn't have been populated if we had this as the joint condition.
Okay, got it.
Okay, is there anyone else?
If it is any duplicate value, that is always recommended to have three classes.
What is this classes?
I mean the column name.
Okay. Ideally speaking, okay, yeah. So, sorry, I didn't understand the question, Sriram. So you
No,
mean to say
so
that,
with see, for example, here we have John, two Johns, and department is different.
right,
But with
department
this
is different.
two column, we applied joint, so we get the duplicate
Yeah.
value.
Why? Because our join on condition is just
Yes.
name is equal to name. Instead, we should have had name is equal to name and department is equal to department. which would have mapped this and this both the columns together so that it would bring in only the right result that we want.
Just always keep on unique different value from a
Unique way of clubbing two tables
clubbing tree. Yes, got it.
or
Got it.
joining two tables, right?
So
Yes.
Balaji,
Yep.
I'm sorry. Hope I'm not adding the complications. So what happens here? I have three Johns.
Hmm.
Okay, and two John is from finance, and I say the other John age is 23.
Oh, in this table you wanted to add.
Yes. Just copy
Okay.
paste the same John which is in the second line, right? And just change the age to
24.
23. 23.
Okay, 23. And the department?
It's fine. Any finance, finance or
In finance.
finance.
Okay.
Okay. See, in this case, if I give an output, right, uh,
We'll
will
end
it?
up getting error.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably here, do I need to
So
give something called as and age equal to age?
unfortunately, we don't have the age in the second table, right?
Okay.
So in this case, then we should call the guy who's managing this table and ask him to leave. Why? Because it doesn't make sense, right? So that's why we don't have name as a common joining thing between things, right? So it would have something called employee ID. So this can't be a duplicate. Even if John is
Mm-hmm.
there, so this will be like 100, this will be like 101, and this will be like 103, right? Similarly, this John will have 101, and this John will have, sorry, this John will have 100, and this John will have 101. Agreed? And
Yeah.
this John, we haven't had it here. So if he is there, he would have a employee ID. Ideally speaking, employee ID should be the way to join. But just to give you or make an understanding about how joins work with and condition or like clubbing different columns together, how it makes sense. I just took this thing, right?
So
Example.
we take this code, which is like which always carries the unique data.
Yeah, we should always find a way to uniquely join between two tables so that it would make sense, right? So key for this table is in this case this both the columns together, and for this table also both the columns together. It's not just a single column. That would make sense.
So Balaji, and is used in case if there is no unique identifier. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, a combination of two different columns,
Okay.
right?
Right.
A column which should be available in both the
Both
tables.
the tables, right?
Okay.
And for example, like we can add one more and if there is another table which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like unique. Yeah. Okay.
And see, always this doesn't have to have a hard code value remaining on the other side. Okay, so let's assume if you want to add, you can add one more thing like, OT dot, what do we have it in the first table?
Country.
Country and revenue. Okay, or revenue, right? So what was the different revenues that we gave? Very good. Have given the revenue same for all of it. I'm deleting all and I'm just adding this new set. So I can put another condition here. OT dot revenue greater than 30. So you see one difference is I did not add another field to field. It's just a hard coded value, right? If you do this, the number of records, is it reduced? Okay, this is a left join. So because of which it brought in the null values here. You see this null values? That's because this did not match the first set of thing. It did not match first three. It did not match the revenue condition that we had here. This part it did not return any result on the second table. Why? Because the revenue was less. See this? Greater than 30. Only then it produces the result, which is right here. So meaning to say, you don't always have to equate a column name to a column name in table A to table B. You can give a hard code value also from here.
But Balaji, it should not supposed to pick 10, 20, 30 revenue, right? Sorry, 10, 20. Yeah, greater than 30, 30 revenue, right?
Yeah, if you want, yeah, we can add it like for the complexity, right? So let's say now one extra column got qualified, extra row got qualified.
Okay, no, my question is it should not supposed to pull 10 and 20, right? Because it is not, it should not supposed to be.
No, no, no. This is a left join. You remember? So for left table,
Okay,
irrespective of
okay,
what, it should bring in
okay,
all, and
okay,
then
okay,
from the
okay,
right table, it will be missing. It has null
okay.
values.
Yeah, got it, got it. I'm sorry.
Okay, I know it's getting a little tricky, or it's getting a little. I'll be worried if you say someone understood it like 100% by looking at this first time, right? I mean, I know there are people who are a little more experts in the team, like maybe Alagiri or Vash if she couldn't join today. But yeah, other than that, and Namida and Nambu. But for people who are looking at this for the first time, if you feel like there is a mild headache, that's where you have started learning the SQL. And no one will speak. Cool. So, yeah, let's take another level on the same. Okay. So, let's say if the size of this is greater than or equal to the average of this one. So, how to put that across? Select average revenue from your table one, which has revenue here, right? OT from order table. So, if I run just this part of the query, what will it give me? It will give me an error. Why? Because the data type that I've declared here is varchar for the revenue. Now, how do I handle the situation? Let's try casting it, okay? Okay, average is also 30. I can't help. Okay, I'll add another row here, which will make a little bit of difference. Let's say 500. That's a lot of difference. Let's say 100. Okay, so now let's see what is the average size of revenue on this entire table, which is 41, which means according to this data that I have it in the second table, only this two rows will get qualified when I run left join, right? So what is this? This is 41. So now I'm giving calculated instead of giving a hard-coded value like earlier we had like 30 or 40 something like that here, right? But now I'm calculating an average and then giving it in the join clause. If I run this, you see only these gave a result. So if I do a inner join, now what will happen is it will return only two. The others that had null, it will go. Why? Because this is an inner join and that was a left join earlier that we had. So let me run both of this together. You see, this is the left join's result. Okay. And the left join, you will see nulls. Why? Because whether or not the condition satisfies or not, all the left table items should come. That's the condition for the left join. And the inner join is like, hey, this entire condition should be satisfied. This answers for Preeti's question in the beginning of the class, right? So you can put this in the where clause also.
Okay.
But I have put this into the join itself. So if I could explain what does this means, it's like this is the graphical way on how the query gets executed. Okay, so the way to read this diagram is from the right to the left. Okay, so it first at the time of joining itself, there is a filter that you add, right? So inner join itself can act like a filter, right? Let's learn this. Okay, I think it'll be a little complicated if I explain this right now. But Preeti, did you get what I'm trying to say? You can put this in
Yes.
the where clause as well, right?
Okay.
And this
Okay.
is how the way that it is getting executed. So first it brings out all the data from the table, right? And then it calculates the average in the first place, which
Okay.
means it is already calculating it in the bottom of the where clause, and then it is like, and the on class. And if you put this into the where clause, then you will see a different behavior in this. Now, this
Okay.
entire thing is operating when you're adding it in the on clause itself. So this is the on clause that we have. And this
Okay.
entire joining operation happens even before, I mean, the filter is added even before the joining is added, right?
Hmm.
So this is comparatively, this is an efficient way of writing a query.
Okay.
Any questions, guys? Hey, I would like to have an interactive session. Like, it feels like I'm talking to, apart from a couple of more people who are interactive, but other than that, I feel like I'm speaking to a wall, right?
So Balaji, this cast is basically it converts, is it, from
Data
integer
type,
to?
right?
Okay. So it's vice versa as well. You can convert integer to varchar as well.
Yeah, in this case, it is already a
Okay.
varchar, right? So I wanted that to be forcefully converted into a integer
Integer.
because I
Okay.
wanted to do some kind of arithmetic calculation here. Average, I wanted to calculate. That's why I converted into that. But ideally speaking, you won't see a database that will have maybe a revenue in a varchar. It should ideally have an integer or a like a decimal 15 comma 0 or 15 comma 2, something like that,
All right.
right? Okay, guys. If there is no questions, then we can wrap it up. Yeah, right. So what did we learn extra today is like you can forcefully give a condition here at the join time itself, at the time when you wanted to join itself, right? Or you can hard code some value like this. And without considering like, what are the columns that you have it in both the tables, let's not assume that this is the only way of identifying. So if you wouldn't have considered country, we would have ended up giving a wrong result to our stakeholders. So we should be very careful, right? So that's the whole point that I was trying to explain here.
Okay, Balaji.
Okay, guys. If there is nothing else, then we can drop. I don't have anything else. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Balaji.
Thank you.
Thanks, Balaji.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you very
all.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Balaji.